Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys coming by the channel and watching the video today. Got a good tip for y'all today. I'm going to share a little trick that I learned about 30 years ago for fishing for the bass that are just starting to come off the beds. In other words, the late spawn period and the early post-spawn period. This is a technique that you probably never heard before. I'm going to describe you guys how to do it. Definitely think it's going to add up to some quality fish for you guys. And also, guys, we're going to be talking about the old school number 7 shad wrap here. This is like in everybody's tackle box. This bait's been around forever. This is the bait that we're going to be talking about as far as how to fish it during the early post spawn. And I'll put my shad wrap link and my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to order one and give it a try. The one that I use the most is the black and silver, but I've caught them on different colors, but this is my personal favorite right here. And also, guys, real quick, we've got 2 more days left in the spring sale on my Solar Bat Signature Series RB2 and RB3 glasses. You can get them right now at 30% off, and if you use the promo code RandyB, you get free shipping and handling. We got 3 different lens frame colors, bunch of different, the frame colors and a bunch of different lens colors. So I'll put the Solar Bat link in the description of this video if you guys would like to get a pair, so appreciate that. Okay, guys, this is actually, I'm going to tell you a little story about how I learned this. I was fishing with a group of my friends down at Table Rock Lake about 30 years ago. Into April, first part of May, there were still a few fish on the beds, but most of them were pretty much done spawning. And I was like, fishing the typical stuff you fish that time of year, like Texas rig worms and jigs and, just the post-spawn stuff. Nobody really fishes a crankbait, especially a shad wrap, during the spawn. But one of the friends of mine that was from Indiana, he didn't know any better, and he brought a deep little end crankbait. And he started fishing this deep little end crankbait in and around those places where the fish were spawning. And he caught like 20 fish one day doing it. So the only crankbaits I had with me at the time was a shad wrap. So I took that shad wrap and started doing the same thing that he was describing to me and just started freaking ripping them. And I fished a tournament the next weekend down there at Table Rock Lake, and it was a buddy tournament, and me and my friend that fished the tournament, we finished second in the tournament with 22 pounds of fish, all on the shad wrap in that clear water of Table Rock Lake. So I want to explain to you guys what the deal is here in the video. Okay, first of all, what happens is a lot of these fish, when they get done spawning, the males will stay and they guard the fry around the beds, that type of thing, and the females will pull out. Some of the females will swim completely away from the spawning areas and go out into the main lake and do their whole deal. But another population of those females will just hunker down outside of those bedding areas a little bit deeper. And this is what we were catching with the shad wrap. So what I did on this, and the thing that I want you to try here, is take a spinning rod with 6 to 8 pound test line. Get into those areas where you think the fish have been spawning, and take this shad wrap and throw it a little bit deeper, just parallel the banks, like in 5 to 10 foot of water, and reel this thing with a fast stop and go retrieve. That's the key with it. We figured it out. Actually, we figured it out by accident. I was fishing and not catching much, and I made sort of a bad cast, and I reeled the bait in real fast to make another cast, and one hammered it. So that got me on that whole thing about you had to reel it fast for those non-aggressive post-spawn fish. So we started in the tournament, we just started running nothing but spawn pockets, put the shad wrap on, long parallel cast, burning that shad wrap, stop and go retrieve down those banks, and freaking smoke them. So it's just a little tip I wanted to share with you guys. You probably haven't heard that before. In general, most of the time, when those fish are spawning or when they're just done spawning, they don't hit moving lures very good. Normally they'll hit like your Ned rigs and your Texas rigs and your shaky heads and wacky rigs. Occasionally a top water a little bit later in the post spawn, but I never caught them during the crankbait. But that's something, there's a window where this thing works. And once those fish completely vacate the beds, where there's none left on there, the bite pretty much goes away. So if you're in a situation right now where there's still a few fish spawning where you're at, just guys, get you a couple of these shad wraps, parallel those spawning banks out there and see what you think about it. I think you might catch some good fish doing it. So hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.